In this episode...
Hi, I'm Sam at FPL Seagull, and today this is all about Brighton.
The Fantasy Football Show.
Hello listeners and welcome to episode 26 of the Planet FPL 30 in 30. My name's Serge.
My name is James.
26. I feel like that's like...
Oh, Ledley.
Is that Ledley King's number,
Yeah,
is
of course
it?
it is,
Oh, okay. I feel like we're like last few to get out of the way because this has been mammoth. But 5 more shows including today's. And we'll have done our 30 and 30 and then hopefully it'll be out just a handful of days before official FPL open up the game. Somewhere around 6th, 7th, 8th of July.
Somebody told me, I should say we're recording this particular podcast a week in advance of its release. Somebody has told me this morning, July the 4th.
Okay. Someone, ITK?
No, somebody told me July the 4th, but also said couldn't remember where they'd heard it or who had told them.
All right, so it could have been in a dream somewhere in Fantasyland.
It seems to be normally somewhere between there and sort of like the 13th, 14th, but I think it would probably be nearer the 4th, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Today we have with us none other than FPL Seagull, Sam, who has been writing articles for us about Brighton. Sam, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
Excellent. I'm a little nervous about today's show, and I'll tell you why.
Well, I know
because
why.
Because in the last, pretty much most of the episodes up until now, and 30 and 30, I've been saying Brighton are going down, and I haven't got a hope in hell next season. So I'm hoping to be converted and proved wrong in this show, but I haven't been particularly positive about Brighton at all.
Sam, you have one job on this podcast, mate. You are young enough. You are young enough to be Sudge's son.
Yeah, that's true.
Give him an ass kicking. I'll start you off by saying, as a small reminder, that Brighton took 4 points off West Ham last season.
Correct.
We did.
And you were the best away fans to come to the London Stadium, in my opinion.
Oh, good.
From a singing point of view, I said it after the game. I remember the show after the game.
I remember you saying that.
I was really impressed.
Yeah.
I suppose it helped that it was midweek under the lights. Which always have a few beers and get a bit rowdy, but they were the best away fans last year.
And we scored a couple goals. Which,
true.
It's a rarity.
Look, I can't argue with certain players within the squad, but if you don't get a striker and all the stuff that we're going to talk about now, I'm a little fearful. But before we get into the Seagulls, let's talk about your FPL season. How did you do last year?
It went all right, actually. Finished around 27,000 overall rank.
Decent.
I got my highest ever point tally that I'd ever got.
Yeah.
Not my highest ever finish. It started quite well. Tailed off towards the end. When all the chips coming in. And Captain Duffy in game week 34.
Good lad, you weren't alone.
It springs to mind, yeah.
Yeah, that was
a painful one.
I think that's part of the reason why I'm so down on Brighton at the moment as well, because the wounds haven't healed from that. That mini double game week of Brighton.
Sam's best rank was in 15-16 in the top 8,000.
Wow.
Sam, am I right in saying that then in that season you were 15?
Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
Wow. My.
So Sam finished second in our correspondent league last season.
Yeah.
Not only is he 18 only, and just finished his A-level exams, congrats, mate.
Yeah.
He goes to more games than anybody I know, basically.
Right.
How many away games did you miss last year, Sam?
Last year I missed 4, I think.
And how many home games?
I went to them all last year.
So you only missed 4 games out of 38.
Wow.
Yeah.
This guy is more ITK than any correspondent we've got.
Yeah, to be fair, you're right. I don't think any of the other correspondents have been to as many games as that.
The problem is because he's 18, he's probably out on the pole and pissed all the time.
Well, no, because he's 18, he's got more time to watch matches than people that are working like us regular.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to put it down to. True. So you went to more away games than I went to home games last year. I missed 3 or 4 West Ham home games. So you went to more away games than I went to home games. So that's a pretty impressive stat. So 8,000 a few years ago is an incredible rank, and obviously 27,000 this year puts you well up there and amongst the elite managers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I played it quite safe this year, I think.
Sam, when you're on like Scouts Hall of Fame, like remember us,
Yeah, true. When that happens.
Yeah.
What's you was just sorry, I kind of cut you off. You were just going to say you played it quite safe this year. What do you mean by that?
Well, just I started off quite well. I think I was in like up to 5k quite early on because I had Doherty, Jimenez, Fraser, players like that.
You picked them quite early. Did you transfer them in, or did you start the season with those guys?
I had Doherty from game week 1.
Wow.
And Fraser came in after like 3 or 4 weeks, I think. So I took risks early on, I think, got the differentials, but tried to just play it safe and hold my rank. It went okay. It wasn't too bad.
No, you've done all right, mate. I mean, you're saying, you got in from game week 7 onwards, you were never outside the top. I mean, game week 7, you were 41k, jumped straight to 15k game week 8. And from there onwards, you were never outside the top 40k. Pretty consistent, mate.
Yeah, pretty consistent. Didn't take many hits, I don't think, either.
No.
I'm trying to remember. It's quite a long time ago now, but didn't take many hits. Played it safe.
I noticed in that game week 1 team of yours, just looking at it last year, there was no Brighton players in it.
No, wasn't very confident, I don't think.
But there were 2 in the now, what would you say, fabled game week 34,
infamous game week 34, mini double game week.
Duffy, captain, and Ryan for a monstrous 3 points between them. Boom.
Yeah.
Which is more than James got from more players, to be honest.
Yeah, just that game week was not enjoyable. Like, I think we lost 5-0 to Bournemouth.
Yes.
Lost 2-0 to Cardiff. Just
I don't think anybody has forgotten, Sam.
No.
No. Unfortunately not. That was not a good one.
I remember tweeting with you during and actually following your tweets over the weekend. And you were a pretty depressed man, I think. You'd resigned yourself after the Cardiff game that you were going to go, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I accepted it. I accepted the Championship next year. That was it. But we only stayed up because the bottom 3 were so much worse than us.
Which I guess kind of leads on to where we want to start with Brighton. The first thing I want to ask you, Sam, is thoughts on Chris Hughton.
Chris Hughton. Well, he would always be a club legend. The stuff he's done for us, he took over near the bottom of the Championship, got us up, kept us up. You know, we'll always be thankful for him for what he's done. But I don't know. I feel like he might have taken us as far as he could. He's a great man and that, but you can't let that get in the way of, you know, whether you want him to stick around for longer. I think people on the outside, when that got announced, a lot of people were shocked, saying, you know, be careful what you wish for and that. But I like the appointment of Potter. I think it's shows ambition. I'm excited. I am excited.
Good. That's better than where you were at a couple of months ago.
I think you're right in the sense that there is sometimes a good time and place. The way Hughton left, having kept you up, albeit by the skin of your teeth, was a positive, and he can leave with his head held high as taking you into the Premier League and kept you up there and stuff. So it kind of sometimes people do cling on too long, and I think Hughton leaving at that time was probably right. Looking at his track record and history now, he might be better suited at getting clubs up from the Championship, getting some stability, and then finding the next challenge.
I
for sure.
Yeah, I think unfortunately in the end, I agree with what Sam's saying. Like the consensus was, "Oh, that's harsh. He's got you there." But I think it was a point with Brighton where I think if they were starting in exactly the same shape this year, all the things you've been saying, Serge, about they'll go would have been accurate. I think everybody would have been tipping Brighton to go down. Whereas now, I think those on the inside, knowing bits about Potter and what he'd done in Sweden and made the Swansea side quite attractive again last season, feel like there might be a change. It'll go either way, right? The guy's also unproven in the Premier League. No way of knowing. But there is probably a fresh feel about Brighton. I feel like with Hughton, and we saw this from particularly his reign at Norwich as well, when results got worse, he reverted to a type of being a very defensive coach. Now, the problem for Brighton is, Brighton, since have come up, been quite solid defensively, if you think about that central defensive partnership of Dunk and Duffy. But then suddenly you got results like Bournemouth, and you was like, what is this? This is not the side that I've seen before.
Yeah.
Why did that collapse happen, Sam?
I don't know. I'm still not sure. It might have been something inside the dressing room. Maybe they just, didn't get on with Houghton anymore. But it was just the shape. We were going to, I think, away at Wolves. We drew 0-0. I think it was the most defensive performance I've ever seen from a team ever.
Yeah, Bradley was not happy about it. He was not happy.
I've never seen a bus park like it. But
yeah.
Well, you have, mate, because 3 days later you come to Spurs and it was exactly the same, mate.
We almost got a point there as well.
Well, exactly. It did what it needed to on the tin. You only needed the odd point to stay, right? And I think when I was speaking to you in the weeks before, I was saying to you, like, I just can't see Cardiff getting the points. So, and that was the main reason why I thought you'd be all right. What do you know about Potter?
Well, when we first signed him, I was a bit underwhelmed, but I've done my research, and I think he likes more possession, attacking football, which could be more exciting to watch. I'm more bothered about results. I'm not too bothered about how we play, but it could be better to watch. We could get battered a couple more times now, though. He also likes, Swansea fans on Twitter were saying he likes to bring through the youngsters in the team as well, which I think could be quite good. Could quite be good for us, because we invest a lot in our youth and stuff. So I think it suits us. More attacking anyway. Yeah, I think that'll be exciting.
There are a few talented attacking options at Brighton, good decent players, but it's the goals that's the biggest concern. I mean, with Murray going to be about 400 years old next season, none of your other backup strikers have really come in and made an impact. So if Brighton don't buy a striker, I feel like then definitely there's limited hope. But if you were to pick up a decent striker who could get sort of 12, 15 goals, then it does kind of give you a bit more of a fighting chance. But if you looked at the squad that Brighton have, keeper's not bad. Central defenders, if you manage to keep Lewis Dunk and Duffy's not, obviously there's no transfer talk, but Dunk there is. But keep those, it's not bad. I know Pascal Gross didn't have the best season last year, but if he can recapture the previous season's form, he's a decent option. Was it Solly March created the most chances? I'm sure there was some stat around him that he created a shitload of chances. It's there are enough decent players there. It's just that striking situation concerns me most.
That's it. Yeah, I didn't think Murray would be our starting striker last season. I thought, in the Championship, that would be his last season. But if he's our starting striker on the opening day of the season, I'll be a bit worried. Yeah.
Well, you say that, Sam, but I mean, 13 goals last year, 12 the year before. There's 25 goals in 2 seasons for a side who's struggling and around the bottom. I realise that day's going to come for him, but he's better than all the others there at the moment.
That's the problem, though, isn't it?
That's it. He's proven me wrong time and time again.
Who's the second choice? Andone or something?
Well, I think that's one of the things for him. I mean, Andone was quite cheap, but if you think of like Lakadia and the Iranian fella, you can pronounce it for me, Sam.
Yambakash.
Who astonishingly was priced at 7 million at the start of last season in FPL. No attacking contributions. That's one of the things that's really hurt Houghton. When he has spent a little bit there, it's been on crap. I saw, was it 77 million you spent last summer or something?
It was something like that, yeah.
No, it was a sizable number. And none of it improved the team. When you look at Brighton's solid team now, essentially, the best 11 would be components of the team that come up, basically.
Yeah.
Bar Pascal Gross, I would say. Would that be fair, Sam?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Maybe Izquierdo.
The signings we made were strange because they didn't really fit into what Houghton wanted to do. He played Jahanbash. We signed Lacardia and he up for our striker to solve the problem. Ended up playing him out wide. Same. Jahanbash was on the other side, and they almost played as wing backs. They were so defensive. it was frustrating to watch sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. That might change next year.
Are you worried about Dunk?
A little bit, yeah. If the thing is, if Maguire goes, it kind of causes a knock-on effect. They come after Dunk, so I'm a bit worried. And Leicester is a step up.
I mean, the greatest fear shouldn't be him leaving, mate. It was what was going on with his Barnett in that Instagram picture, mate. It's far more of a concern. But it would be those two are. They come as a pair, don't they? Dunk
really
and
do.
Duffy.
Yeah.
That's it.
And they are solid as. Who do you see? Let's assume he stay. Who would be first choice fullbacks next year, Sam, as it stands?
Bernardo at left back. I'm a big fan.
I
of
know you
Bernardo.
like him, yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. And right back Montoya probably because Bruno's retired. Very sad.
He was another one that got to about 400 years old anyway.
Yeah, he kept on going.
He was solid for them, in fairness.
You can't argue with his length of service, even at that age, the performances he was putting in. But you're right in terms of Bernardo, and it is an interesting option.
Are any of those two? Because I know you mentioned Bernardo a few times last year, Sam, and it's probably unknown to a lot of the listeners. Is he an option next year at all? I assume these defenders are all going to be 4.5. Can't see any difference.
Yeah, I think he gets forward quite a lot. When we played at home last year, he got forward a lot. He always found himself like quite far forward, creating some chances. I really like him. I think he's a good option. He's more attacking than Montoya is anyway on the other side. But I don't know. It depends how we set up next year. It's all very up for debate because of Potter. I'm not really sure if he's going to have his fullbacks attacking or what, but I think he's an option. I think Bernardo's an option, yeah.
Gaetan Bong?
Yeah. Bernardo will start ahead of Bong, I think.
All right, nice. Their backline sounds like a lad stag do, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ryan, Dunk, Duffy, Bong, Bruno.
Something dodgy going on there. Yeah.
Best central pairing, would it be Stevens and Proper at the moment?
At the moment, yeah, Stevens and Proper. Basuma looked good towards the end of last season.
He did.
I loved his laughing himself shitless at the
Arsenal,
Emirates.
yeah.
Brilliant. Loved that.
That was good.
Brighton's not the biggest city in the country, but a lot of people might know each other. Do you have Dale Stevens' phone number? Because James's missus would like it. If you can get your hands on, if you can get your hands on Dale Stevens' phone number or address, because she'll happily go and just knock on his door.
Yeah,
you've been married 2 years now. We did see on Twitter, James. We saw your wedding. 2 years is enough, mate. It's time for her to, she's had her 2 years of fun. Go and meet Dale Stevens.
She ain't had no fun with me, mate.
Oh dear.
I mentioned essential pairing because looking at Potter historically at what he's done in Swansea in the last year, he's favoured more of a 4-2-3-1. I think Stevens is the most conservative of those as the sitter. I wonder if he might play with Proper or Bassoon, because Proper's played at 10 a few times for Holland, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I wonder if he might play a bit further forward next year.
Yeah, Brighton fans want to see that. I think there've been a lot of fans saying Proper should be playing in like the gross role, but he can't shoot. Every time he goes forward, he's not very good in front of goal. So
Noted. You built that up and killed it straight away, mate. Well done.
yeah. I don't think that's a good idea. I think he'll be playing deep with Stevens most likely.
And the wide players all kind of flatter to deceive in terms of attacking returns, but between three of them, I would say Izquierdo, March, and my old favourite Anthony Knockaert.
Anthony Knockaert. I was wondering how long into the podcast before his name got mentioned.
Fucking bellend. They're talented players.
Yeah, there's definitely the potential there. They're just inconsistent. There's not a winger there that consistently puts in a good performance. Knockaert especially. One game he's unstoppable, and then he goes and gets sent off, or just does something silly.
Disappears off the pitch.
Yeah.
Izquierdo had a really decent sort of tail end to the first season. Kind of struggled with injuries last year. Would that be fair?
Yeah, he's still injured now. I think he's going to miss the first week of the season at least.
Oh,
Knee
right,
injuries.
okay.
Knee injuries are been a problem for him, which is a shame because he was always a good option. He's so fast, always cutting in from the left side. I like watching him actually, but we're going to miss him for now, I think.
So presumably March starts the season then. Do you think there's anything in him if he's 5 million as an FPL asset?
Sorry, March. He was on set pieces last year, but Houghton liked him a lot because he tracked back a lot. He was very defensive. So I don't know. It's between him, Knockhart, and Jahanbash, I think, for the wide spots. But
what do you think of him? Because I don't know what to make of that fella.
Jahanbash.
Yeah, I can't say his name, so I'm letting Sam do it.
Okay, when you say that fella, I don't know. We start talking about Solly March and.
Isn't his first name Ali?
Ali Razy.
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay. Ali's fine.
Ali.
Ali. Wasn't great last season, to be honest. He didn't really get going. He didn't really have a pre-season because of the World Cup, so he came in late, and then he got injured, and then he went off to the Asian Cup in January or whatever. So he never really got going. But he didn't really show any signs of being anything special, being worth the money anyway.
I mean, he was top goal scorer in the Eredivisie when you bought him.
Yeah.
At the moment, he's. We've spoken about this before, haven't we? So sort of off podcast
we were.
About players who come from that country. You're either kind of Suarez or Janssen.
Yeah.
You're either one or the other.
Yeah.
This fella's not even going to get remembered, is he? At the moment, that's how it feels.
Yeah.
You might be right. Pre-season might do him a good. And you're saying Lecadia, obviously he's been used in wide areas. Could that change?
Yeah. I'd like to see it, actually. I'd like to see him play up front because he's done all right for us, I feel like, from what he's been asked to do. I think he's done a good job. But it is an opportunity now for Andone and Lecadia to get that spot off Murray now, I think, with Potter coming in.
What about Pascal Gross?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Where you were going to lead on to. I owned him at the start of the season, hoping that he'd carry on his form from last season. I think it was either game week 3 or game week 4. He picked me up a double figure return where he picked up maximum bonus points for a goal and a clean
United
sheet.
at home game week 2.
Yeah,
it's
and
United,
that was it.
yeah.
And then after that, the amount that he got rotated, he might be up there as one of the 50. He might have taken over the mantle from our friend at Chelsea, Christensen, as the 59-minute king as well last season, where he just got rotated too much, didn't make it to 60 minutes in many games, and didn't bring the attacking returns. Yet he did have a handful of games where he was decent enough that you'd think there's the Pascal Gross from last season. But can we just put it down to injuries, or is it something bigger than that?
I think he's a great player still. He still creates so many chances. We look so much better with him when he's on the pitch. I think injuries last year, yeah. And also the system. In our first season, he played right behind Glenn Murray, or even like as a second striker sometimes. He was getting loads of chances. Mm-hmm. But last year, we changed to a 4-3-3, which was strange. And he was playing a lot deeper and like drifted out wide a lot and didn't really get involved.
Yeah, we did talk about that, didn't we? He was pushed
when they played
too
you,
deep.
we were talking about
Yeah,
kind of
he
changed
was
to a
too deep.
4-3-3.
And it wasn't. It's just ineffective. I mean, if Potter sets him free in the number 10 role behind a striker with 2 wide men, and he will drop in price because he started last season at 7 million, which was quite a big chunk of money. If he was at 6 or 6.5, then he's a completely different consideration.
I can't see how he stays at that price.
No, you can't stay at 7.
Even on that historical first season.
Yeah, he has to drop down. If he's a starting number 10 at 6 or 6.5 million, I see a couple of positive signs from Potter, then I would consider Pascal Gross.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one to watch because when he is playing in behind the striker, he's in good form. He's a really, really good player. Everything goes through him. And we got some nice fixtures as well to start the season. So maybe if we have a good start, I'll probably look at Pascal Gross, yeah.
You mentioned that fixture list, Sam, because it was one of the ones that really came up to my eyes when we did on episode 15. We looked at the fixtures. I mean, the only ones that really appealed outside City, Liverpool was Everton, Bournemouth to a lesser extent, and obviously yourselves. Your fixture run is good. What did you make of it?
Well, yeah, the first 6, I think, we play City as it's like the only top 6 team. We got Watford, Newcastle, Burnley, and it's good. It's good because hopefully get some points on the board early for Potter, take the pressure off. But also, he's got to hit the ground running.
Yeah,
if
it could go the other way.
If we don't get them wins, if we don't pick up some points, then the pressure will be on and we'll be behind that curve. But I don't know. I think I'm happy with it. I think I'm happy with the start.
What are your serious expectations on this season?
I think it's got to be about survival again. It's not great at the bottom of the Premier League. It's every season survival, but I just want to see more of what I saw in the first season in the Premier League, where we were more comfortable.
Do you want to jump in here, Serge? I can't relate. Can you?
Oh, you see that? Yeah. This is you're exactly reinforcing a point that I make quite often about mid-table peace of mind. Happy to just sit in the middle of the table, but just know that we're not going to get relegated for a few seasons while we build stability, because you need that consistency. It's the same. It's similar at the top of the table, James, in where we spoke about the first season Spurs broke into the top 4. You couldn't then turn around and say you've made the top 4 a top 5 or a top 6. You need a few seasons of doing it regularly. The same applies for moving from 16th, 17th up to your 10th, 11th, 12th. Do that consistently for a few seasons, then push to like 7th, 8th, and then try and crack it. So steady Eddie. So you've had a season there at 17th. If you can just even get up to 16th or 15th and save yourselves with 4 or 5 games to go rather than 2.
Yeah, that's it.
Then it's kind of sort of good enough.
Mm-hmm. Don't want to be in the same position we were this season, needing points going into the last couple games, and got a bit nervy. You want to be looking at like teams like Watford and Bournemouth, pushing up to the mid-table.
I suspect if you are in it again, mate, the teams around you might be a little bit stronger as well.
Yeah, I thought that as well. I'm a bit worried.
The problem is, when we've obviously been doing these pods, and we haven't spoke to Jack Turfy Topper, our Burnley correspondent, yet, but we've covered, obviously, with the promoted clubs and that. I think we all feel there's a little bit of an unknown on all 3 promoted clubs in terms of who's strongest. Like, we all knew Wolves were last year. But when we look at the other sides who you think might be in and around there, like sort of Burnley, Southampton, I don't know, maybe Palace. You all
maybe
feel,
Newcastle.
Well, Newcastle's an unknown element, isn't it? I mean, they might be super rich by the time this podcast goes out. But with the other ones, like with Burnley, Southampton, you feel like they'll improve next year.
Yeah,
which just makes the task more difficult. Their
second half of the season form was not relegation form for Southampton and Burnley. It was the first half of the season. So as long as they maintain that for the whole season, there's no chance that those two will go down.
Yeah.
So who does?
Well,
that's
for me,
worry, I think.
At the moment, I don't see a very strong like this season. There was 6 or 7 that were in it for quite a while. The 3 promoted clubs plus Brighton at the moment there is a gap between them and Palace and Newcastle and probably Burnley in my eyes. I don't know if you'd agree.
Yeah, I think I agree there. I think we're going to be one of the favourites, aren't we, to go down? So, but I just think, last year we didn't beat any of the teams around us. We didn't beat Southampton. We didn't beat Burnley. We didn't beat Cardiff, Fulham. So if we can start picking up points against teams around us, we'll be okay, because we did beat Wolves, Everton, teams like that, which is strange.
That's why the Bournemouth game was such a shock, mate, because I remember watching you. I mean, I can obviously relate to the fact that I've seen obviously the couple of times you've come to obviously Wembley and obviously the new White Hart Lane late in the season. They were tight, horrible to watch games. I remember watching you at Anfield earlier in the season, and Alisson made a great save right near the end to deny you a draw. I think you've gone to United and lost by like the only goal, I think 3 times now, including the cup game, if I'm right.
Yeah.
You never seem to get battered. So if you're picking up the results in those games in and around you, that'll obviously help. And I think the one main thing, if you look at those first three home fixtures that you've got, Southampton and Burnley, they're going to be pretty critical to how you start.
They are big
because
games.
If you go back to the first season, I think it was only Leicester outside the top 6 won at the Amex in the first season. But last year there was quite a few. I mean, this idea that I used to say it a lot, didn't I? So Amex is a really tough place
Brighton
to go.
Brighton at home is different to
gone.
Brighton away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It went last season. Doesn't mean that it can't be brought back.
Of course not.
So yeah, do you think your team set up differently at home to when they play away that causes them to have more clean sheets at home and get better results at home?
Yeah, I think we do. And also the team we play against set up differently. So when we play at home against teams mid-table or near the bottom, we are more attacking, and it's a strange one. And then we go away and we're happy to, or with Houghton anyway, we were happy to try and scrape out a draw, and it just, I don't know why. But away from home, I think 2 years in a row now we've been one of the worst to watch as well. But
I think you're well under a goal a game away from home, aren't you, since you come up?
Yeah.
And you go to nearly all of them, mate.
Yeah.
Dedication.
Fair game to you. Keep going. I mean, that's like, I've seen a few tweets. Sam does a really nice kind of when he's been somewhere, just a little kind of one tweet notes on the game.
Yeah.
And quite often it's away, didn't score, bog standard. Murray does nothing away from home, lost by the odd goal. And it's kind of very routine for Brighton like that. But it could all completely change next season.
Yeah, we go away and we just expected to lose 2-0. It was like the standard thing. And the games we did win, I think we won Huddersfield and Newcastle. They're the 2 of the 4 that I missed. So, it's typical, isn't it? Maybe I should just sit at home.
No.
No, don't do that, mate. Keep going, because I love that. Do you enjoy going away from home more, even though results-wise doesn't normally work out?
Yeah, I love going away.
The atmosphere is so much better, isn't it?
Great, it's great. Yeah.
I'd say one thing I do want to ask you about is we asked Mig this last week. What the fuck is this with this Palace rivalry, mate?
The rivalry. I get this a lot. Before my time, I think it started.
I think it was before Mig's time, and it was before my time as well, and I'm an old fucker.
Yeah, it's just been going on. I don't know. I think maybe because we don't really have a proper rival on the South Coast. So, but it's a real thing. The Palace rivalry is a real thing. When we did the double over them.
Mig was tracing it back to there was an issue between a couple of players who then went on to manage between the two clubs or something along those lines back
Mallory
in the 70s.
And someone else.
Right, yeah, so that's probably what it traces back to.
I don't know. Nobody really seems to know, other than there was this big argument in the late 70s. And I think I get it from Brighton's point of view a little bit, because catchment area, there's not really much there. I don't know. It would be closest geographically. Was it Southampton? Was it?
Southampton, Bournemouth, Crawley. We don't really care about any of them.
Crawley,
really.
Nice.
We don't really have a rivalry with any.
No. What I'm saying, geographically, is not that much close to you. Crystal Palace have ground shared, right?
Yeah.
Geographically, you've got clubs close to them. I find it strange. And when you press, it was a big row 30 years ago. What about what? Well, I don't really
quite
know.
remember.
It is a unique one. Yeah. It is a unique rivalry, yeah. But we did a double over them last year, so
yeah.
Well, the win at Selhurst essentially kept you up, mate.
Yeah.
Looking back on it.
Yeah. I wouldn't go as far as to say that you've convinced me so far that Brighton are going to stay up. But thinking about a starting lineup of Ryan in goal. You've got your 2 centre backs in Dunk and Duffy, and assuming Dunk stays, Bernardo as one of your defence fullbacks. Who I forget who you mentioned on the other side.
Montoya
on the other side. You've then got Stevens, Proper, Gross, Lacadia, March,
Basuma.
and I don't know. But then you've got too many players, and then a striker.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. There's a little bit of depth. I mean,
they're all capable players. They won't set the world alight, but they're capable, functional players. At this point, it really is then down to the manager. I think if you get a really organised, a manager that gets them fit and organised, and everybody knows their job and keep it simple, then you'll definitely be in a position to maybe beat some of the promoted sides and some of the other clubs and at home. But it then really does put the emphasis on like a decent manager. They're like Potter doing a very, very good job.
Do you think Sammy's got money to spend, or is there a little bit of fear that a lot of it's been wasted in the last year or two?
we haven't really. We've been linked to a couple of transfers, but only like cheap. We've been linked to this Portsmouth centre back, a backup centre back for $3 million. But I don't think we're going to be spending too much this summer. He's got the squad there that we've recently spent 75 million on. He's got the players. It's more about getting them working the way he wants rather than bringing in more players.
I mean, there's 3 or 4 forwards there who there's been money spent on them. He's probably going to have to get a turn out of them, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's regarded as a good coach, so
maybe. Yeah, I think we're going to need a striker. We're going to need probably another centre mid, more defensive midfielder, and maybe like a right back. But there's not that much work that needs to be done. We've got the players.
Well, that's progressive and positive from where you were 2 months ago, mate.
I could drop a few names. Andy Carroll's available this summer.
Fuck yeah. Jack Wilshere.
Yeah, Jack Wilshere will solve your midfield problem. You wanted right back, did you?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Take
Wan-Bissaka.
Nah, don't take Wan-Bissaka because Palace, you don't want him. You want Arthur Masuaku, but just swap him from the left side to the right side because it doesn't make a difference. He's neither footed.
Oh yeah.
He can
give it away for free.
Yeah, his left foot's as good as his right, and his right is as good as his left.
Cole Jenkinson at time of
there you
recording,
go.
he's still at Arsenal, awaiting his move to West Ham, I believe.
Yeah, I the latest rumor I heard was Jenkinson actually would be involved in a swap deal for Tierney with Celtic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they were trying. But again, rumours like how many are there buzzing around? Yeah, there are quite a few.
Before you go, Sam, just a little word on. I mean, you're 18. Did you go to? You never went to the Goldstone, did you?
Goldstone, no. Just out of my.
Did you go to the Withdean?
Yeah. Went
Just
to Withdean a lot.
describe for the listeners who might not know Brighton's backstory what the Withdean looked like.
Oh my. Okay. It had a huge running track around it, and then.
Sush knows about that.
And
We got
then
carpet, mate. We got carpet now.
The stands behind the goal, especially, were so far away. The away end was probably barely see the goal. No roof
Such
on the
knows
stadium
about that.
when it rained. Yeah, a lot like the Olympic Stadium. Yeah, that one.
It was essentially half temporary stands, wasn't it? Basically,
was-
with no
it was
roof
awful.
or nothing.
It was not good, but some good memories.
How many years were you there? Because you didn't own that or anything, did you?
No, we were there. I think we got to the Amex 2011. We were there for a good 10 years at least, I think. We were there in League One. Got promotion there, and then our first season in the Championship was at the Amex. So I don't think we were supposed to be there for that long, but what happened.
Is all the funding in the club, does it come from Tony Bloom or are there other investors?
I think it's mostly from Tony Bloom. He's got a lot of money. He's a professional
poker
gambler.
player. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so
That's his
It's
job.
all come from
Professional
him.
poker player.
yeah, well, that's
Wow.
where he makes his money. So yeah, we've got to thank him. I know for everything really. The training ground, the stadium.
Yeah, it's all there. I've said this so many times in the last year or two that the club came up ready to be a Premier League club.
Yeah,
From
That's
the ashes, basically, of being at the Withdean, 10 years ago? Not even that. When did you move into the Amex? I went first game, 2012.
2011, I think. 2012.
Bollocks.
Something like that.
I was there, first ever game at the Amex.
Okay.
The Spurs played there in a friendly. We won, obviously, 3-2. But it's come from nowhere. I remember I think it was 97, the 1-1 draw at Hereford, last game of the season to keep you in the Football League, stop you going into the conference. So it's come a really long way. And with the stadium and the training ground, it's like it's been slowly sustainable. The city, you said it's not a big city, but the support is there in comparison to clubs of similar size. Like Brighton's got the potential to grow into a sustainable Premier League side. And I think there's a lot of clubs who've come up at similar size, haven't had the infrastructure of what Brighton have got.
I mean, someone like Huddersfield, you'd think wouldn't be able to fill as many as Bournemouth would be an interesting one to compare with, but I think again they're still
a small
smaller.
club. Bournemouth, even Neil said that when he came on.
So none of these guys are in the league of Brighton. I would agree with you.
potential's there to be a sustainable club.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
They feel every week, Sam, don't they? Even in through that
Yeah,
horrible
we
run,
sell
mate.
out. Yeah, even during that, we were getting 30,000. So
Yeah,
It's-
that's
yeah,
a long
like,
way
it's
from the 4,000 or
sustainable.
5,000 at the Withdean, mate.
yeah, it is.
There we go.
Done.
We're done.
Yeah,
We're done.
enjoyed that.
I was just thinking, what I feel like I was just about to say, I'm basically putting Brighton on the watch list as opposed to anything else. Not that all the players that we mentioned. I feel like at the moment, not knowing what the new manager is going to do seems a little bit early. If the likes of Solly March is 4.5, maybe,
He won't be.
or Gross comes in at 6, then you might consider them. But until then, it's a kind of wait and see how you
it's all
guys
very
set up.
unknown.
And for the listeners, regular listeners, and people that read the blog, it's going to be worth tuning in to read Sam's thoughts on the first couple of weeks of Brighton. We're all going to be looking for bargains and breakthroughs with all of our money being tied up in City and Liverpool assets. So it is going to be important for sure.
Sam, before you go, if you had to buy one opening day of the season, Brighton player that is obviously, who would it be?
Bernardo.
Interesting.
Okay, that's one to consider. He may be a bench filler or rotator in defence that we need to
I
consider.
thought you were going to say Matt Ryan, Sam.
I thought about it, yeah.
Ah, interesting.
But I don't know what we'll be like next year.
Wait, is there a
It's
price
all very
point?
unknown.
Is there a price point where Gross would become must buy?
Well, it's probably be around 6 million, right? So
So 5.5 would be the must buy, maybe.
I think if he was 5.5, he'd be in my team.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah,
There we go.
he won't be. They're
Cool.
listening.
What else has been happening, James? Anything else we need to cover off?
Tomorrow's pod will be an interesting one. We're doing something kind of numbers based with Tinkerman.
Yep. He likes his stats, so
Yeah,
we will delve in a little bit into
we spent at the
numbers
live
and-
show. Me and Dara, we spent a good half hour or so just talking about plans for the podcast. So
yeah.
yeah, it should be an
Okay, fair
interesting
play.
one.
Do you remember any of that? Because
No.
we've had a few.
No, I'm waiting for him to remind me. Recording tomorrow.
Perfect. That'll be good. Interesting transfer rumours flying around. Have you seen any for your club, Spurs?
What are you talking about? This pod's going out like a week after we're recording.
Yeah, I just want to get in that I saw a rumour.
Let's not date things and make it stupid.
No, let's not.
What's
But this
your
one's
rumour?
funny. I saw a rumour that Manchester United are about to bid 70 million for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And everyone who's an Arsenal fan is losing their shit because they sold Sanchez to him. They sold Van Persie to them. I'm just saying that if it does happen, then I'm going to pull up this clip from this podcast of me laughing.
Did that?
Because I would love it if United went and bought Aubameyang, just because I would love to see the Arsenal fans explode. We got to say Matt Child's out. Matt Child is officially leaving the building. Sam, you know we've got Man Child, our producer's got an assistant, Matt Child, the producer.
All right.
He's here with his little rucksack. He's about to go to Jamaica for 2.5 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
On
go on then, fuck
holiday.
off.
So he's come into the studio whilst in the middle of your podcast just to wave bye to
Rude.
us. Be safe.
Have a good one, mate.
Yeah.
Are you still going to edit this pod or what?
Yeah. If there's any listeners in Jamaica, lock up your daughters. Matt Child's on his way. Peace out.
No, I feel bad now. We might never see him again.
Yeah, we might. It's all right. So where were we? We're just talking about Aubameyang going to
Aubameyang.
United.
Yeah, but I
Please
heard-
make that happen because
I
I'd
heard-
love to see Arsenal fans explode.
I heard they're bidding for Diop as well.
Yeah, 45 million plus a player.
Yeah. Which one of that shit do you want?
I will take Antonio Valencia, because he's least likely to even get anywhere near my team.
This is why you get ridiculed so badly. You know.
Give me
that.
Valencia rather than any of the others. Chris Smalling's haircut's good. I quite like Chris Smalling's
Phil
haircut.
Jones is gurn.
Yeah. Luke Shaw, he could join us for a big Turkish mixed grill kebab.
Sam, do you see this shit I have to put up with all the time with this guy?
Well, we can't talk about Spurs transfer rumours, can we? Because
We're
you're
not
never going to
talking
buy
about
anyone.
transfer rooms. We're talking about Brighton.
Brighton,
And
come on.
we're being positive about
Yeah.
them staying up.
We need the FPL.
Yeah.
We need the...
We need Pascal Gross at 5.5. We need Glenn Murray about 10 years younger. And we need to get Bernardo in our teams at 4.5 as our fifth choice defender next year.
And add a little prayer at the end, and then we might all be 8.
listen, those opening home fixtures and Watford away on the opening day,
worth keeping an eye on.
Keep an eye. I think there needs to be some moves in the market, not on quantity, because the quantity of players is there, as in there's depth.
Yeah,
it's quality to get Potter towards how he wants to play. The only other note I'd say on Potter is predominantly 4-2-3-1, but flexible to change. Like in his last game at Swansea, he played 3 at the back, so you might see. I don't know how well that would suit you, Sam. But you might see a bit of flexibility in formations.
Pretty much. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the new season. It's exciting.
Good luck, mate. Keep them on the tour tweets coming in, mate.
Yeah. Please do.
I will.
Thanks for all of the kind of content that you produced last season. We're looking forward to a bunch more this season, as are the listeners.
I know what I want to ask Sam before he goes.
Oh, okay.
Sam, what was the best stadium you went to last season?
Best stadium, probably Spurs' new stadium.
James is just fishing for compliments there.
Oh, sorry, I had
you had to get sucked in. I knew what he was doing as soon as he talked about was the best stadium.
What's it like there, Sam?
It is I was very impressed. Yeah, it was very good. The pies are very good as well.
Told you, Levy knows what he's doing with them concessions.
Good. Cool. Well, Sam, thanks for joining us today. This is episode 24, 26 of our 30 in 30. We'll be back tomorrow with episode 27. Hit subscribe, share the podcast with any of your FPL playing friends, anyone that you know that supports the Seagulls might find it an interesting listen. Anything else to add, James?
No.
Ciao for now.
Cue music. Thanks, Sam. Man child, cue the fucking music.
Yeah.